All right, so we're gonna go through some Kemper profiles here that you got that you use live.
Yeah. So I don't do. I've got. I told you just now that I've got about 20 different patches. That doesn't always mean that they're like super different. I play from everything from our record Wormwood to now. I play the majority of the leads, and honestly, it's just kind of because I'm better at the technology than Devin is. So it's like I'm a lot better at dialing things in than he is. But so yeah, with this guitar, like I said before, I've got like two separate like 7-string rhythm tones just because the woods are a little different. But so this guitar is. So yeah, that's my normal rhythm one.
Hell yeah.
I've always got like it's basically just an overdrive noise gate. Like I said before, I've got the little, mock dive bomb.
Yeah.
It's like I'm triggering a pitch down and a delay at the same time. So like I have it set up as momentary. So like it's only going when I actually hit the button.
Yeah.
And then I've also got, I do that with like a lo-fi patch.
Oh.
And that's just basically all I do on my main rhythm for the 7s. Any leads that I have on 7s, I usually do. So it's fairly wet, but the mix isn't very high on it, so it's kind of just like
in the
broadening.
Yeah.
A bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little noisy. There's a way on the Kemper board. I use the Kemper remote also, and they've got a feature called morphing, and it's kind of like 2 presets per button. And I have my 2 main lead sounds broken up into less wet and more wet. And I have them separated just because certain songs, like going into certain patches, I need them separate. But I also always have the option of like using the morph so that if it's like maybe it's not wet enough for a part in a certain venue, I can click it on and then it immediately flips to the more wet one. And I don't have to keep a second space going. So I usually start with like the less wet one just so that it's not getting washed out. But I don't know how obvious it is in the context of just like a DI, but you could really hear it on stage a lot more. So here is the normal less wet, and then I'll morph it into the more wet. So it's and then the more wet.
Hell yeah.
So you could just kind of hear it like even out for longer. And then I've got a little. I hate I hate having like a volume pedal or a wah. So I just have an auto wah for any wah sounds that I need. But the way the Kemper wah works, you can kind of have it like track your attack so that it's like when you hit harder, you get a little more squawk out of it than when you hit lighter. So if I have a wah lead, it's like.
It makes me like smile every time because it's like, oh my god, that's so nasty, and like you play a whole fucking set like that. It's like,
yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Those are the main 7-string patches. I have a lot more for my 8 strings. One of the coolest things that we do that a lot of people ask me about too is we have like a noise patch that we use that is like a continuous drone for when we have to like tune up in between songs or like change guitars. We really hate I think the most awkward thing on the planet is when it's like a dead cut and just nothing like at the end of a song, and it's just like dudes tuning. And granted, like our singer Vincent's good at transitioning that gap, but we also have it's literally just I'll be playing a rhythm and then I just kick the noise patch with a ring out, kind of let it go for a minute, and then I could hit my tuner on. So it's like say I'm just doing.
Yeah.
And then my tuner's on, so it's just
white.
Nothing.
Yeah, like like a white noise type of thing.
Yeah, and then when I kick onto another patch, that goes for there. I've got another. I talked about the clean tone that I used. Let me find that bank. Yeah. So here's the. I don't even remember the part because it's a song that we played on one tour. It's the song 3750 from our record 3750 that I was like 8 when it came out. So, so yeah, like I don't remember the part, but I'm super sloppy right now because I haven't played a 7 since I got home from tour. But yeah, it's like and that's with that coil split too. So
oh, that's sick. Yeah.
This is it normal. And then I split it.
Hell.
It's just got that cooler swing. That's the bridge pickup, and split on the neck is just super like bendery.
Yeah, there's really nothing that guitar can't do.
Yeah, I think trying to look at it right now, I think that patch is actually still a 5150, and I just have the gain all the way down. So the guitar makes up a lot for that.
Oh, sure.
And then I think for 7 strings, that's all I got. I'm looking through it. Yeah, so let me put the 8 on real quick, and I'll show you some of that stuff real fast. Honestly, I haven't played 8 string since we got home from our last tour either, so let me tune this before I make a fool of myself.
What's the gauge on your bottom string?
Shit. It's an 80, and my 7s and 8s are my 8s are 27.5-inch scale. My purple and my other like walnut maple 7 are 27-inch, and then that weird one with the trem is like 26.2. So they have more strings, and they are also much longer than a normal guitar.
Sure.
But my main 8 sound. So that's the standard. It's pretty much identical to the 7-string patch. It's just got, I think I tweaked the overdrive a little just to have a little more tightness in the low end.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find some cool stuff on that. Our song Feed a Pigeon, Breed a Rat, that is off our new record. We've got some cool shit. It's just like my normal rhythm sound, and then there's 2 different clean leads that I do in the song. The first one is in like the build-up breakdown. Pretty standard. It's just like got some chorus and a compressor on it. I only use compression on my lead patches just to kind of even them out. But it's pretty dry. Like it's like that part is where I'm like picking more constantly, and then towards the end of the song, it's the same thing, but I pick it a lot less, so it's a lot wetter. So the outro version is. And I've also got it's the same thing, just more reverb and delay, and I've also got a harmony block on it that I believe it's an octave up that I've got. I can't really hear it too well with my AirPods in, but it's just kind of like barely in that mix just to give it a little bit more of that chiminess. Here's the better depiction of that less wet, more wet version of my leads. So I've got, this is like the less wet. Not that I'm ever playing anything like that, but if I
sounded good.
If I were to have to shred, Yeah, that's what it would be. And then the more wet one is, like I said before, it's just kind of like longer tails. Just a lot more
Love
decay
it.
to it. Got all that. Our song "Holy Walls of the Vatican." The chorus is like a wah kind of like octave thing. Oh my god. But that's a lot more subtle than the like lead wah thing. It's just kind of like the slightest bit of delay to just fill it out. I really hate dry leads. Like I think there should always be some kind of reverb or delay on them. And then same wet patch. I've got another that lo-fi thing we do a lot, and I do it always because, like I said, Devin doesn't know how to use his gear. And then I think those are all of the main sounds I use. Oh, here's like an ambient lead thing, which is just like super traily.
Dude, like people,
it's kind of one of those things that
people love Kemper for like,
really hear.
Yeah, people love Kemper for their like modeling, but their effects on those are just like so clean. Like,
yeah, people always kind of like give it shit for not having a lot, like as much effects as like an Axe Effects, but I had an Axe Effects for 7 years, and I maybe used 5 different effects on it. You know, like it can do a lot, but it's not always musical or practical.
yeah,
I feel like everything in the Kemper is like, this is what I need. Like it's not something that I personally am not trying to create new effects. I'm trying to just create new songs and new textures in songs. I don't need to hit one note and have it run an arpeggio. And that's one of the things that the Axe Effects can do. Like you could literally hit one note and it'll play an arpeggio in key. And it's like, I don't want to do that ever. That's not what I ever need it for, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, all the wet stuff is great on here. I have a bunch of spots like in the set that I throw like a fuzz on. Let me find one of those. We have a lot on our records. We use fuzz pedals a lot, and obviously, like live is just trying to recreate as much as we can. But this is like a normal just fuzz on. I've got 2 things that I use. I have one that's fuzz just added to the tone, and then another that's fuzz and an octave below that is added just for extra grossness. So just the fuzz is. Just kind of adds that like hair to it. We have a song called Above that like the whole thing is just kind of like a stonery ending where it's just and that's kind of like a build up, and then when the whole band kicks in, I kick on the fuzz with the octave below just to add extra width to it, so that's
oh, love it.
Yeah, and I think part of the other thing that I like so much about the digital stuff is you could control fuzzes better and the noise gate. Like that's fuzz and an octave, and I could still stop like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know if
shit would be piercing
or any noise gate or fuzz pedal that I could do that with. Like I basically just try to pretend like I have a swollen pickle pedal because it's my favorite fuzz, and it's pretty close, and I could still gate it. Like at the end of our song "Send Help," it's just a slam of like.
Yeah. There's no tail. There's no hissing, no tail. It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best of both worlds in my opinion. And then I think the only other. Oh, I have this like low gain patch. I'm just kind of going through my. It's just kind of like it's not a clean guitar, but it's not a full blown lead, you know. It's just that like mid gain kind of thing. think that's really the majority of it. There's one other that I might actually be sharing the same patch from. So maybe that's not like 20, but it's I
Pretty
definitely
close.
I think I use the foot switch as good as like useful and as smart as you can. And I
Sure.
spent a long time laying it out and figuring out the way to make it work for us and for myself.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. It's simple, but it does exactly what I need it to, because when I had my Axe Fix, I overcomplicated the shit out of
Yeah.
everything, and it was like a nightmare every single day, and I didn't know what I was going to sound like in some rooms. But with this setup, it's like every day I know exactly what it's going to be.